Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Mad Dialogue with me, Michelle.
Me, Skylar.
I hope everybody's doing well. This week we are bringing a story from Michigan. A mother, she abandoned her children for years in deplorable conditions. When I came across this story, shocked was an understatement. I'm still kind of trying to understand how somebody could do this. So basically, a Michigan mother was charged with first-degree child abuse on Wednesday for allegedly abandoning her children for several years and leaving them in deplorable conditions, according to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. Kelly Bryant, 34, from Pontiac, Michigan, allegedly deserted her 3 children, a 15-year-old boy and 2 daughters aged 12 and 13, for approximately 4 to 5 years, leaving them to live alone in absolute squalor, officials said. Before I go on, I just want to point out, those are the ages of the children now. So
It would have been 7, 8, and 10.
Basically, 7, 8, and 10. Now, I struggle. I mean, my youngest 3, 21, 17, 14. I would struggle to leave them for 5 days, and they're fully grown and capable of taking care of themselves. But 5 years. Anyway, throughout my extensive career in this field, I have never encountered a scenario as dire and prolonged as this one, involving abandonment, neglect, and abuse of the highest order, Sheriff Michael J. Bouchard said in a statement. Bryant is facing the most serious charges of child abuse and is facing up to life in prison, according to prosecutors. Prosecutors said on Wednesday that Bryant was living at the home with her 4 children in 2019, but at some point in 2020 or 2021, she moved out of the house, abandoning 3 of her children, while the 4th went to live with their father. I'm imagining that the 4th one was that young that it made sense for her to do that, I guess. But why didn't it make sense for her to do the same? Not so much with their father, as this document or article will reveal, but there are other family members, for example, her father. Bryant instructed the children to not answer the door or leave the house. Officials said the boy only came out of the house twice, once to feel the grass and another to check the mail. The children were discovered on Friday afternoon when deputies received a call from a landlord to perform a welfare check at a house in the 600 block of Lydia Lane. The landlord was concerned about the residents because he had not heard from the mother since December and had not received rent since October. When deputies arrived on the scene, they found the 3 children in the home alone, living in horrific conditions. In some rooms of the house, garbage had piled up to 4 feet tall, along with mold and human feces found throughout the residence. The bathtub and toilets were overflowing with human excrement, and authorities said the mother only dropped off trash bags, gloves, and Febreze back in 2020. When police entered the home with the landlord, the daughters were hiding in the bathroom while the son was hiding in another room. It appeared that the children were unfamiliar with how to use personal hygiene items or know how to flush a toilet, the sheriff's department said.
See, that for me is already crazy, because the fact that you were there for at least the eldest's first 10 years and you didn't teach him how to flush a toilet.
Or they don't know anything about hygiene, which shows that there was neglect.
Like from the start. You weren't even washing your kids.
From the start.
Because I'm not being funny, by the ages of 7, 8, or 10, you know how to wash yourself, and you know how to use the toilet, and you know how to clean up after yourself, you know?
Exactly. The boy told authorities that he and his 2 sisters had been living alone since 2020 or 2021. And you see, because it keeps saying 2020, obviously that's that year we don't speak of.
Yeah.
Everybody was really just about themselves during that time, you know, not concerning themselves with their neighbors and so on and so forth. Do you know what I'm saying? So, during that time when she abandoned them, nobody was going to be looking into it or questioning anything, especially because they weren't attending school. So school was out in 2020.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And she could have fobbed them off with anything when they contacted her, if indeed they did. The boy told authorities that he and his two sisters had been living alone since 2020 or 2021, and that the three of them survived on prepared food delivered once a week. Officials said companies like Instacart or DoorDash were delivering the food, not knowing the kids were inside. Authorities said recently the children were only receiving a loaf of bread that was supposed to last 3 to 4 days. The young boy told authorities he had been in contact with his mother, but it appeared she had not seen the girls in years. The children had not attended school since their abandonment, passing time by watching television and playing games. When discovered, the children were wearing soiled clothing, had matted hair and toenails several inches long, making it challenging to walk. The boy slept on a mattress while the two girls slept on pizza boxes, officials said. The children told authorities they were afraid of how Bryant would react if they ever left the home. The woman was found at another location, which I just want to add because it doesn't say it here, which was 6 minutes away. 6 minutes away from where her children were. 6 minutes. And she had not bothered with them in 5 years. The woman was found at another location and arrested without incidents, officials said. She told authorities that the father of the children... Sorry, excuse me. I'm just so caught up in this story. Like, what? She told authorities the father of the children was not involved in their lives. Officials confirmed on Tuesday that the father had been incarcerated for a period of time and had no contact with the children. But upon his release, he filed paperwork for visitation rights, but the mother would still not allow him to see the children, officials said. Neighbours were not aware of the children's living conditions and told authorities they only saw the mother dropping things off at the house. The family of the children were also unaware of the situation, since the mother told them the children were with a babysitter, officials said. Everybody is upset about it, said Pontiac resident Emma Gross, who lives a few streets over from where the children were found. This is right in our neighbourhood. How could something like this happen? People always say that though, don't they?
And I'm not being funny. The family is like chatting out their butts because I'm not being funny that they were with a babysitter for 5 years. You don't see them for 5 years and you just like, oh yeah, they're with the babysitter. It just seems like everyone's always like, oh, boo-hoo. And everyone's always like none the wiser when this stuff comes out.
Well, I did see a news clip on YouTube where the reporter had contacted her father and he had said that he had been consistently asking where the children were. Why can you bring the children over? I want to see the children, so on and so forth. And apparently she kept fobbing them off. But you see, me as a grandparent,
you're not just going to let that slide.
I'm going to the house.
This is what I'm saying. And if not, then you're calling the police, fam. You're not just letting that slide. And this is what I'm saying. It's all good and well, people saying all of this, but they also allowed it in one way or another, regardless of whether or not they knew what was going on or not. They didn't care enough to keep them, you know.
Well, as it goes on to say, which will highlight the point you just made there, it says the children were examined at a hospital for evaluation, appearing to be in good health, and they've done that in air quotes, and have been placed in the custody of a relative via Child Protective Services, officials said. Bouchard said the far-reaching consequences of this abuse must be acknowledged and that the department plans to figure out how these children fell through the cracks on so many levels with relatives, the community, and with schools. They're saying the community has been donating clothing for the children, and authorities confirm a financial donation will be set up as well. So that is the story as it stands. But for me, I'm still like, in this day and age, this is still happening, you know? And don't get me wrong, it's a thing where I don't like people being all up in my business. Yeah. And a lot of other people are the same. However, if you're in a position like your family member, yeah, let's start there. Okay. as a family member, you haven't seen, okay, so 2020, 2020, we can say, okay, everybody was caught up and living their life. Everyone was, you know, in lockdown. But then after that, wouldn't you'd really want to see them, wouldn't you? Because you haven't seen them. How many times was she able to fob them off then? Well, obviously over 5 years, a period of 5 years.
Crazy to me.
Yeah. The school. Now, with the school, she could have told them that they had
home
got
educated or going to a
different school.
But I think
I feel
that
like
stuff
she probably
is linked.
would have said home educated.
Yeah, because the school systems are kind of linked. Or
that's
something.
What I'm saying. Because
so
she
if
would
they
have to
transfer paperwork
that's
and
right.
stuff. Yeah.
So she probably told them that they were homeschooled. And as for neighbours, yeah, like, do you really take notice of when people are leaving their house and coming back to their house? I mean, I suppose it depends on how the homes are positioned and that. And if
I do, I'm nosy as hell.
Fair enough. But it's a thing like, if you notice that people have got a certain routine and you'll tend to see them at certain times of the day or the week or whatever, and you're like, hi, or whatever, but then you don't see them, do you then presume that they've moved? What? I mean, there was one neighbour who said he saw the boy a couple of times. He leant out the window and complimented his car. He said, but how was he to know that what was going on literally behind closed doors?
For real. And it's just sad as well that these kids were so scared they couldn't, you know, reach out for help. Even the fact of how easy it was for him to, you know, talk to the neighbour about the guy's car or to go out and touch grass. It's just like, oh, I just wish, like, one day he said, you know what, like,
yeah,
he's had enough. But obviously I'm glad, you know, that they've got the help now, but it's just thinking how long it was as well.
No, it's really
insane.
It's a really sad state of affairs. And I think the thing that shocks me the most is that these kind of stories, maybe not as drastic, but from a child's being neglected, abandoned, so on and so forth, it's all drastic to me. But there seems to be a lot of these cases where this happens. But yeah, you will see other cases where it's mostly when I'm watching these videos, CPS as they call it, Child Protective Services, they're going to people's houses to take children that don't even need to be removed.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But then we've got children like this, like 5 years.
That's just
this
insane.
Is what I can't understand. And I think the fact that she was only living 6 minutes away, and she's there, I saw another video where she's all over social media declaring her love for this man. So you got time for man,
but not your kids.
But not your children.
That's just the thing. And even so, if that's the deal and you can't be fucked, like,
give them to their to relatives.
For real.
There was one relative that they interviewed, this woman. She said, we all knew she was a bad mother. Hello? So you knew she was a bad mother, and so that was even more of a reason why you should have checked in on these children when you didn't see them after lockdown. And I'm saying after lockdown because I feel that during that period, there was people that got away with a lot of shit. Look at that woman that we reported on the other day. She killed both her parents and had them in the house. Do you know what I mean? Since lockdown. So a lot of things were going on behind closed doors, granted, but 2021 came, 2022, 23, 24, 25, and you didn't think to check on these children? Nah, I'm sorry. People have to do better. And, you know, there's a thing called self-love, but there's also a thing that's just self-absorbed and just out for yourself. Because I'm telling you now, there is no way 5 years could go by and me not know where my grandchildren are. I'm sorry, you're lucky if 5 days could go by and I don't know where they are. So come on now.
Though.
So, you know what I was thinking earlier? You know, we've seen it a couple of times. I think it's when they're about to go, they're appearing on a show as a guest, and they'll have the members of staff lined up against each side of the wall. And
it's Gwen Stefani, it's Jennifer Hudson, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but you know when they did it for that Aaron Pierre or Mufasa, like, you know that.
I didn't see that one, but I know
I
what they
didn't.
do.
I've seen a couple of clips, but you know,
Yeah.
you get the idea of what I'm saying. That's what she needs when she goes into prison, but women just kicking shit out of her as she's walking down that corridor. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what she needs. That's what she needs. Yeah.
Facts, though.
Seriously. And you know what else? I feel like she should be put in a cell far away from people and be left there on her own, yeah, and let rubbish and whatnot and that build up, let the toilet fill up so it don't flush. Leave her in that squalor for 5 years, yeah, like she did her children. That's what she deserves. Let her toenails grow, everything. Disgusting woman, yeah. Your karma is going to be so harsh, and it couldn't happen to a better person. So, yeah. But on that note, we are going to leave it here. And so I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. And as always, I'm sending an abundance of love and light. It's goodbye from me, Michelle, and goodbye from Skylar.
Bye.
Bye.